So it's starting to get to that point where people are starting to say, we might need role queue in Marvel Rivals. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that that's actually going to be the solution to the problems that we're dealing with. Let's talk about it. YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark. I'm here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I hope everybody had a great week. I hope you're having a great start to your weekend. If you didn't, I apologize. I'm sorry to hear that. But let's go ahead and get into it. So this is something that I've been seeing a lot lately, like in my comment section, been hearing people talk about it in my Discord, just all types of stuff in regards to people saying that role queue will solve a lot of the issues that we're dealing with. Now, people know that we've had an insta-lock DPS problem pretty much since this game came out. And I feel like it's partially the community's fault and it's also partially the developer's fault. Obviously, if you put more DPS than there are tanks and support characters in the game combined as an option, what do you think a lot of people are going to go for? Not to mention that a lot of people don't like to admit it, but tanks and supports jobs are extremely hard. They're extremely complicated, and it's a lot easier to just sit there and play your favorite DPS character than it is to have to create space and absorb damage and push the objective forward and stuff like that as a tank player. It's a lot easier to play DPS than have to sit here and get dove constantly by Black Panther and Spider-Man, Iron Fist, Magic, all these different people and stuff like that, and be the constant and primary focus of the other team's attention while sitting here having to make sure that you also know when to get eliminations and when to constantly heal and all of that kind of stuff. So like I said, it's kind of a thing where the onus is on both parties. But at the same time, though, in all honesty, we can't really control what devs do. That's on them to decide when they do things, how they do things, when they release stuff, et cetera, et cetera. The thing that we can control, though, are our own actions. Now, the thing that I want to talk about is with role queue. When this game first came out, I had only ever had any experience from playing Overwatch, like I'm sure a lot of people had. Now, for a lot of people, I'm pretty sure this is their first time playing a hero shooter. A lot of people only came into this game because of the Marvel IP, which is understandable. And the only reason that I ever had any experience in Overwatch was because I had friends and family members that's the only game that they played, the only competitive game they played. Everything else was just for fun or whatever, campaign type stuff, solo player games. And at one point, my brothers had bought me the game for my birthday. They were like, here, you no longer have any excuses. We bought it for you. Now you pretty much got to play with us. And I only played it with them extremely casually, like very, very casually. And like I said, it was not the kind of game that I was into at the time. I was more into like FPS, Call of Duty, extraction shooters and stuff like that. So when I played, I would play support, I would play Mora, and I was one of those Moras where I was more like a DPS Mora. I really didn't understand team composition and all that kind of stuff. I just knew Mora was straightforward in my opinion, and I thought it was funny how people would be like, oh, you're going to heal me, right? And I was like, no, I'm actually just going to DPS. Sorry, I'll let somebody else figure that out. I was kind of a troll in that game, but it was because I didn't really want to play it. The point that I'm making, though, is that from playing that game, I picked up some bad habits, and one of the bad habits that I did pick up was the idea of role queue. Right, that just seemed like when we only know what we know. So if you play a game like a hero shooter and your only experience with it is to have role queue, that just seems like that's just the way things are supposed to be. It's kind of hard to think outside the box when you don't even know that you should be thinking outside the box in regards to certain things. Now, when I first played Marvel Rivals, I just assumed that because it's a hero shooter and my only experience in hero shooters was Overwatch, like a lot of people, that's the way that you make a team composition. You have 2 tanks, 2 DPS, you have 2 supports. So whenever I would see that something was missing, like let's say there's only 1 tank, I would try to play the other tank. If there was only 1 support, I would try to play support. Same thing with DPS, right? That's just how that worked in my head, and that was just the way it was supposed to be. Even though there was no one telling me that it should be that way, and there was no restrictions that you could do whatever you wanted to, I just thought that was just something that they didn't feel like they needed to add to the game, but it should still be that way. And there were a lot of other people that felt that way as well. Now, if you're not new to the channel, I apologize. I'm going to have to tell this story again. I know I've brought it up like 3 or 4 times because it's very relevant to what we're talking about, and it's been relevant in the past. But if you're not new to this channel, basically, when I first started playing the game, well, it wasn't when I first started. I played in Season 0, but I didn't really play ranked. I was just learning different characters and playing quick play with friends and stuff like that a lot. It wasn't until Season 1 when I actually started playing ranked. And I actually don't know, was there ranked in Season 0? Let me know in the comments if there was. If there was, then that's cool, but I wasn't playing it then. point I'm making is that season 1, I was playing, I got up to gold. It was a struggle for me. Every rank was a struggle to kind of get out of because, like I said, I had never really played rank, and I definitely didn't play rank in Overwatch. So the rules, everything like that, learning how to counter and all these different things, all this stuff was new to me, right? So we had a match. I was playing Penny, and this was on Clintar. I was playing Penny. We had 2 tanks, two DPS, 2 supports, right? And we had a Hulk and a Venom that were just demolishing our team. And I'm talking about they were demolishing us so bad that I remember the rest of the team was just sitting back on the cart waiting for it to move up. And the Hulk and the Venom had like pushed us back damn near to our spawn and were just running through us. Every time that the Venom would dive down on us and the Hulk would jump into to the crowd of us or whatever, everybody would just kind of disperse. Nobody really knew what to do. And they were just eating for free, just having the time of their life, right? So I was tired of the same thing happening over and over again. It's kind of like just banging your head up against the wall instead of just opening the door up and walking through it for me. I said, you know what? I'm going to try something different. I'm going to switch to Squirrel Girl. The second that I switched to Squirrel Girl, somebody in the chat goes, yo, what are you doing, man? Now we only have 1 tank. And I didn't have time to sit here and play the game and type. So I just started lobbing those acorns down the lane. And as soon as the Hulk and the Venom came around the corner and they started getting hit by a couple of those acorns and they started losing the majority of their health extremely quick, it changed the whole entire match. We went from getting steamrolled to them not knowing what to do. And they tried to switch to all these different tanks, but they couldn't get close enough to me from the angle that I was at to be able to do enough damage or anything or any damage at all. And they're losing all this health. Their healers can't keep up. And while everybody's just trying not to take damage from me, my DPS are now eating for free. Tank's being able to do what he wants to do. And even the healers are getting some action. And it went from a situation where my team was upset with me because they just had it in their minds that you have to have a certain team comp. It has to be 2-2-2 all the time. That's just the way that it is. And I don't blame them because even myself prior to that, I thought the same exact way. It took me taking a chance and branching out and trying something different for me to realize that, sometimes it's not necessarily you having 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 supports. Sometimes it's just finding the right tool for the job. And to me, that's fully understandable. As a homeowner, yeah, we have home insurance and there's certain things that are beyond like my understanding. Like let's say, for example, there's an outlet that goes out. I'm not messing with anything electrical. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I'm not about to sit here and electrocute myself messing around with that. I'll call the people out for that. But let's say not too long ago, a couple months ago, a couple pieces of wood on my deck started to rot out and stuff. I had to replace it. I'm not going to sit here and, try to use a screwdriver to screw in the nails to my deck. You take a drill, you drill the holes, and you get the proper screws because there was nails in there originally. You get the proper screws to be able to screw it in so that they don't warp up the next time, right? Like, for me, that's how simple this game is. Every one of these characters is a tool. If you need a screwdriver, do you go get a hammer? No, you don't. A hammer serves its purpose. When you have a nail and you need to nail something in, that's when you get a hammer. When you have a screw, you get a screwdriver. When you need to cut a board, you get a saw. Things exist for a reason. Do you try to eat soup with a fork? No, you don't. Do you try to cut a steak with a spoon? No, you don't. So why in this game would you try to use a character that is not fitting for a certain comp? Why would you only know 1 character in the game or 2 characters in the game? I had a game last night. I was up really late last night. I spent some time in the Discord, and I just want to say that too. If you're having an issue finding people to play with, and you don't want to have to deal with like the randomness of like some of the other like bigger servers, we have a server that's kind of like a family, people that have strong rapport with each other, that are really close friends, that play together every single day. We don't allow any toxicity in there whatsoever. If you're having a hard time finding the link to my Discord, I'll just say too, when you go to my main channel page and you look next to my logo, you'll see where it has my little description. It says more info. You click the more info button and you'll see the link to the Discord. You just click that, you're in there, accept the rules and all that kind of stuff, which basically just say you're not allowed to be toxic or pick on people or anything like that, and you're good to go. We have men, women in there, people of all different age groups, people of all different skill groups. We have entry-level players, middle-level players. We have some of the most goated players in the Marvel Rival community in my server, and they all play together regularly. People don't mind coaching, helping out, giving you tips and pointers. And even if you're just someone who just kind of casually plays and you're just looking for a community of like-minded people to laugh and joke around with, share memes, whatever, pretty much anything that you're looking for, customs, scrims, LFG, any of that stuff, it's in the server. So I'd recommend joining that to make your life a little bit easier, and definitely find people to be able to play with, so you don't have to do the random solo queue hell, So, but the point that I'm making is that I think I was talking about before I brought up the Discord, a random match that I had last night. Having this match, the enemy team had 2 tanks. My team was, just like I said in my previous video about having a solo tank. I was having a solo tank. I'm playing as Emma. They had an Emma on the enemy team, and they had a Thing on the enemy team. And then the rest of the composition was, I'm pretty sure, 2-2-2, right? So my team, they're not doing enough to take out this Thing. Me and the Emma were pretty much having a 1v1 because the Emma's not letting me go past the line. I'm not letting her go past the line. We're just sitting here dueling it out. Everything's equal. But then this Thing is just sitting here like hitting me with the uppercut of legends or whatever it is that he has, right? And I can't take on both of these tanks at the same time. There are times where I can solo tank against 2 other tanks if they're not competent and they're not working together. These 2 tanks were working together, right? So I go into the chat and I say, hey, is there anybody else that can jump on tank? And the people on my team, they're like, yeah, well, I'm a support main. Then the DPS don't say anything. DPS don't want to switch at all. But the thing is that a lot of people go into these matches thinking that everyone else is just going to figure it out for them. And you can't assume that. You can't assume that everyone else is going to be the solution while you just sit there and be the problem. If you only know one role, just think about something for a second. Imagine that the people that you're loading in with also only know one role. And that role is the same one that you know. Let's say you only play support. What if you get loaded into a match with the people that only play support? Then what? Let's say you play DPS and you only know DPS. You get loaded into a match with people that only play DPS. Now, is this saying that every single game that you need 2 tanks to be able to win? No. There are times when I have DPS that are extremely competent. If they would have saw that Thing, they would have shredded them. They would have switched to Bucky or any other kind of like anti-tank character, and they would have absolutely destroyed them. I've seen it happen plenty of times. But on the other hand, there's a lot of times where you do need 2 tanks to balance things out. There's been games where we've had 3 tanks, 3 supports, 3 tanks, 1 DPS, 2 supports. I have seen all variations of a game win against 2-2-2. So is role queue really the solution? No. The solution is that a lot of people in this community are too stuck in a particular thing, and they're afraid to step out. And with a lot of people, I don't even think that it's a fear that they have of stepping outside of the box of like the role that they're comfortable in. It's that they look down on other roles. There's this disillusionment that a lot of people have where they think that DPS is like the hero of the story, which is just not true. It's a team-based game. And what people don't understand is that if you think about it like anything else that's team-based, you think about it like, I bring up a reference of like football a lot, right? You have a quarterback and you have a receiver, and then you have the defensive line. The quarterback can get praise all day long, but what good was he if he didn't have receivers that were competent enough to catch the ball? The receiver and the quarterback can get praise all day long, but who was stopping the team of 200 and something pound men from pushing up and tackling either one of them? The defensive line. Everything has to work together. You think about your car. A lot of people go, yo, what kind of engine is that? That's cool, but what about the transmission? What about the wheels? What about all the other different aspects of the car that you need that if I was to just go and take one of those things out right now, the car wouldn't even turn on? That's the team. You need your supports just as much as they need you to DPS. You need your tanks just as much as they need you. If there's nobody to sit there and create the space, how do you move forward? If there's nobody to absorb that damage, Who do you think the damage goes to, if not the tanks? This ain't Call of Duty. You don't heal every 4 to 5 seconds when you're not taking damage automatically. You need support players. You know how many games have been made or broken by support ults? Perfectly timed support ults. Supports that are just as aggressive as everyone else on the team that knows how to push up, stick together. I've lost count. Everybody's role is important. So this whole like, oh, well, I got to be DPS because like that's the best thing and everybody else can just tank or heal or whatever. Brother, what happens when everybody has that mindset? Now what? And another thing too, a little random thing that I want to just discuss really quick. Please take the damn surrender button out of the game. I am so sick and tired of teams trying to surrender the second that things are not going the way that they want them to go. Had a game last night. My mom calls me, and she called me kind of late, so I picked up the phone while I was in a ranked match because I didn't want to risk that there was something going on or there was something wrong or something like that and me not pick up the phone. So I picked up the phone, and I turned my headset volume up enough to where I could still kind of, pretty much get the gist of what was going on. But like I said, I picked it up, talking to her for a moment. She's my mom. She doesn't understand that I'm in a ranked match. She's just talking about whatever she was talking about. It wasn't anything life-threatening or anything, but at the same time, I'm not going to tell her, like, Mom, yeah, I got to hang up because, I'm in the middle of a ranked match right now. It's really intense. So long story short, at first, we were doing pretty good against this team. We didn't make it all the way to the end. I think we were playing on Clintar as well. We didn't make it all the way to the end. We made it like a little over halfway or whatever, but it was a pretty equal match. Then when it was their turn, they switched to, I can't remember exactly what their team comp was, but whatever it was shredding us. And right when we got to the very end there, and it was around the time my mother called me, they start trying to surrender. The team just starts trying to surrender. And I didn't have time to type into the chat or anything. I just immediately kicked it into overdrive, like, all right, whatever, I got to carry this. Now, I'm playing as a support player, right? But the thing is that the enemy team got too comfortable. They felt like, oh, we're right here at the finish line. This is about to be over and done with. We can just start doing silly stuff. So now I remember, actually, Squirrel Girl was one of their DPS. She gets confident. She tries to push me. She gets blinded, absolutely deleted. Then I'll take out 2 of their support players. Now the tide is turned. My team starts to pick up on the momentum shift. Now they start getting their confidence back. And we just kept rinsing and repeating that. I realized that the Squirrel Girl was the main problem. I would focus her, blind her, get her out of here, cloak back to the back of the line, support ult. Then the invisible woman on our team, she started doing good ults. Now my team's getting more aggressive. We ended up holding them that whole entire time. I think they had like 3 minutes. We held them for 3 minutes right there at the finish line when they were running through us, destroying us that round. My team wanted to surrender. Do you think that's the first time that's happened to me? No, it is not. It's not the first and it won't be the last. I don't know how to quit. A lot of y'all want to quit. You face any type of adversity whatsoever, and you just say, oh, just get me out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. If you'll quit like this in a video game, imagine the things that you quit in life. And a lot of you sit back and you say, oh, well, I don't know how to do this. This is too hard and blah, 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 blah. It's a mindset. Stop trying to surrender. Fight it out. Fun fact, you don't actually lose less points when you surrender. That's a fact. I already knew it was true, but prior to me recording this video, I'd actually looked it up just to make sure. All I typed in was, do you lose less? And immediately it came up, less points if you surrender in Marvel Rivals, which means that is an extremely highly searched for topic. The fact that I could just type in a few words and immediately it came up. Stop surrendering. Stop quitting. Even if you are going to lose, take something from that loss. Learn something from it. Role queue is not needed. What's needed is your mindset to change. For you to understand that this is not the kind of game where you just pick your favorite character and you just go through. This is a team-based game. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. We were having a stage, and this guy, he goes, at the end of the day, this is a video game, and we're just trying to have fun. Now, I'm not talking about quick play here. You can do whatever you want in quick play. I know that we disagree with this a lot. There's a lot of people who play quick play who they go, well, I only play quick play, and I'm in it to win. That's fine. That's cool. You can feel however you want to. But me personally, I don't care what people do in quick play. The literal description of quick play, when you look it up from netties themselves, is for people to have fun, try different things, and learn new characters without there being any of the pressure from ranked. There is nothing that you gain really from quick play. Ranked is the only thing where you get something, and that's your rank. We're having this stage in my Discord and we're talking, and the guy goes, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a game, and, I'm trying to have fun, basically saying, like, I don't want to do things that I shouldn't have to do. At the end of the day, it's a team-based game. Your team is only ever as strong as their weakest link. That's just how team-based things work. Like I told you earlier, if you got a captain, I'm sorry, not a captain, but a quarterback for a football team, he can be the best quarterback in the league. But if his defensive line can't stop the team or the group of guys on the other end that are trying to tackle him, he doesn't get to throw the ball. You can be the best quarterback in the world. If your receiver can't catch anything, what good does that do you? Or vice versa. If you're the best receiver, you're wide open, but your quarterback can't throw for nothing, what good does it do you? It does you zero good. And the same exact thing applies to this. You can be the best DPS on the planet. If you got support players that are afraid and they're hiding around corners, they don't want to push up with you, they're acting scary, what good does that do you? If you got tanks that want to hide behind everybody else, they don't want to create any space, they don't know what to do, they can't tell when it's time to push up, when it's time to fall back, the give and the take that you kind of got to know, what good is that? If your DPS are insta-locking DPS, but they're going negative, they have no idea what they're doing, what good does that do you? Does you none at all. I'm going to wrap this video up, though, because it's coming up on 22 minutes. But that's just something, that I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's just so many people have been saying, we need role queue. We need role queue. The beautiful thing about this game is that you don't have role queue. It's up to you to make the decision when you need to on how you're going to play the game. There's some gameplay that I had recorded that I was going to put in the background. I wasn't actually recording it through OBS normally. I had to go back into the history from last night and record it. The gameplay that you've probably been watching while I was in the background, I forgot to bring it up and mention it earlier because I kind of went on a tangent about some other stuff. I was playing Doctor Strange. I don't usually play Doctor Strange, but they had banned Emma and somebody else had taken Thor, and I didn't really feel like anyone else. And I think my teammate was playing Magneto, right? So my choices were kind of limited as far as tanks go and stuff like that. I think they had been banned Penny as well, too. But I don't really feel like Penny was the choice for that. Point I'm making is that Doctor Strange was probably one of the best choices that I saw at that time for the map that we were on. And the other Doctor Strange, he was somebody who actually plays Doctor Strange. He was diffing me extremely hard, and I just was not getting any value off of Doctor Strange. I switch over to Captain America on a whim, like, hey, let me just test their back line and see what happens, because there are some teams, when you use Captain America, they have no fear. They're just going to turn around and delete you immediately and then go back to business as usual. And there's some teams that are going to start to panic. And when they start to panic, the whole team is going to be sitting here fighting this dude that's just running around, jumping in the air over and over again. And your team can just do whatever they want to at that point because the whole team is just focused on you. Captain America is like a Venom or a Spider-Man. They're just extremely annoying. I switch over to Captain America. You know what happens? Whole entire match changes. We go from getting steamrolled to doing the steamrolling. And we end up winning. It's things like that, knowing when to change, knowing other characters so that you can change. Can you possibly know every single character in this game? No. But you can know a lot of them. Do you have to be the best? No, I'm not the best Doctor Strange, but I've had matches where the enemy team didn't know what to do against me when I was playing Doctor Strange. I don't know Captain America that well. From the gameplay, you'll probably see my Captain America is not that good. I didn't need him to be that good. I needed him to be annoying enough to where the support players could no longer support their team. You know what's happening? They're more than likely in the chat or in the voice, and they're going, hey, yo, this Captain America is back here. He just will not leave us alone, man. We need some help. Peel for us. So you know what has to happen? Whole team has to turn around and worry about me. And as soon as they get me weak, you know what I do? I dive out of there. Go back to my supports, get healed up, and then I go right back to doing it again. Rinse and repeat over and over again. I am now doing what I should be doing as a tank. I am creating space. You can't even get on the cart to stop it or stall it because you're too busy trying to take me out the whole entire time. Whole entire team focused on me. Panicking. And that's what it's all about. But like I said, I'm going to wrap this video up, though, because we're coming up on the 30-minute mark here. But I do appreciate you all for listening. I do want to know what you all think in the comments, though. The last time that I brought up anything about roll queue, there was just people were very angry. And the thing is that in the video that I brought it up in originally, I didn't say that I think we needed it. I actually said pretty much the same thing I'm saying now, that I think that we don't need it and that a lot of people just need to learn to adapt and overcome in a lot of situations. And a lot of people just off the thumbnail alone were very, very upset and angry. But I do think that a lot of people now, after dealing with the frustration of having people that want to just insta-lock DPS, or they get a whole team of people that don't know nothing but how to be support players and they're all fighting over cloak and dagger or something, I do think that that's starting to change a lot of people's minds and stuff like that. So I am curious to know what you all think in the comments, what you think originally, because I know a lot of people will comment just off the thumbnail or before they even watch the video. And then a lot of times they'll come back in the comments after they watch and they go, hey, some of the points you made were actually pretty good now that I think about it or something. So it has kind of like changed my opinion on it. And some people kind of dig their feet in the sand and they go, hey, listen, no, I think roll queue is needed. That would just solve everything, yada, yada. But regardless, though, I am interested to hear what you all think about it. But like I said, though, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and go have some fun, enjoy my weekend. I hope you all do the same as well. Like I said, I appreciate you all for listening, but that's all I got for this video. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm Father Dark, and I'll catch you on the next one.